Hi, I'm going to be talking about Citadel, the Amazon Prime show that I think is very underrated. But it's not going to be a standard review, it's going to be a personalized review. And I'm also just going to touch base because I've been thinking for a long time about how differently I would talk about myself and my life with what I've learned in this past year, moving from California to Austin, getting a new job, new position, and new daily responsibilities, new relationships, um, new place. Now it's spring. I've been listening to these psychic videos online, and I think I can handle it because I'm grounded. I call this Dragonade. It's vitamin water and Gatorade put together. All right, so let's talk about Citadel. The show Citadel is an Amazon Prime show, and it's got Robb Stark from Game of Thrones and the girl from Matrix Resurrections, and they are a power couple, spy couple, and they have their memories erased. And the reason I watched the show is because the summary said mind wipe, spy thriller, or something. Ever since I was a kid, I've been obsessed with the idea of erasing memory and memory. And with the Mandela effect happening as an adult, um, that's also made it very interesting to think about memory. Because one time I got in a heated debate with my very intelligent friend who disagreed, and I was like, well, if I can't, like, if we can't trust our own memory, then what are we? Like, if we don't have memories, who are we? Because like your identity is somewhat in your memory. Um, you know. So anyway, in the show, it's spy advanced technology where they can digitally kind of erase part of your mind and then give it back to you later. And they do it with like a injection, you get the memories back. But they can also just erase someone's memory, like their own people, their own agents sign up for this. And that was one of my ideas. I've had a lot of crazy ideas over the years, but the primary one is what if that actually was real? Because there's a lot more you could accomplish with a willing soldier if you are allowed to erase their memory. Um, anyway, he gets his memory erased, and she does too. And for 8 years, they're living alternate lives because they don't know who they were in their past life. And I have been pontificating for a while all these ideas about if my memory was erased, or um, I just there's certain triggering words for me that are in this show, and I'll like Briella, Asha, Alpha, Delta Gamma, and we're the good guys, the Citadel, the whole idea, the mind wipe spy agency, is an idea that I've been talking about since before this show came out. Um, on this very YouTube channel. But, you know, I am a normal guy who goes to work and pays bills and sometimes doesn't have energy for anything else, like videos like this. And I'm going to be somewhat vague, but I'm going to say what I came here to say. Um, I am very humble in my ascertaining of reality. I realize that it could be coming from me. I could be participating in my environment, consciously generating my life more so than others may realize. I think others have the ability as well, but some of us are more tapped into manifestation than others. Um, Another interesting thought is like, what if you're the NPC? Like, what if I'm the NPC? But anyway, I had a disagreement with someone recently, and I really respected their opinion. I'm a changed man. I don't just think I'm right and that's that, because I'm trying to participate in in shared reality and not just my personal story of what I believe to be true. Um, so my perspective has changed. But so I don't take it too seriously when they say Briella, which is a poem I wrote, or Asha, which is the name of my blog, or Delta Gamma, which was the sorority of the love of my life. Um, and all these, and the Mind Wipe Spy Agency, which was my idea, um, that I've been talking about. It's just whatever. I mean, no big deal. And this symbol is, it's the best I could do. Like I was trying to be an entrepreneur. Like I gotta have a logo. It is what it is. It's evolved into a cool thing. I got my website. It is what it is. It's not impeccable, but it's good. And I had AI do a review of it, and they, with the deep research abilities that it has now, I'm like, research my website and give me the pros and cons. And it said, as opposed to having a minimalist design, my website has a maximalist design. And I agree. And my name is Max. And it's called maxjan.com. And it has a maximalist structure where I try to fit in as much as possible instead of just having your typical cookie cutter template. It's hand woven. I'm going to be all over the place because I've earned it. I'm a very someone came up to me and told me at work that I'm very even keeled and I never get too high, too low, which is my exact agenda. Like, that's a ridiculous thing to say to Lawrence Jan. And yet it was said. Because I can go higher than anyone and lower than most. And yet I'm centered. Because I have a purpose. My purpose is to prove that I can live among you and function and excel. I can show up on time and get things done and be relied upon. The idea is to meet the expectations of this reality, this shared reality, and then raise it my own expectations, as opposed to choosing one or the other. To just be like, that little thing over there if I was truly functioning as a spiritual being, this physical thing over there, no problem. Done. It is a challenge, but I'm learning, and it's a humbling experience. Anyway, back to the show. He loses the opportunity. The show is basically 8 years later, and he loses the thing that he could get his memory back. But she gets it, so she's kicking ass, and he like has good reflexes, but he's not a secret agent anymore. He doesn't know what he's doing, and so it's a nice show because you're kind of through him, the audience, and he's like trying to choose between the woman he used to love and the woman he is married to now. Um, and I myself had a past life with a past love and a current life with a current love. Um, Now, is the show about me? No, but maybe. And then if that's too crazy, I would just say, have you ever been watching something and it feels like it was just for you? Or listening to something, like whatever you're drawn to, whatever you're digesting, have you ever thought it was synchronizing to you specifically? Because that's how that show made me feel. Um, as well as Hypnotic with Ben Affleck. Um, and Resurrections, Matrix. But regardless, what am I trying to say? I'm a strange person who's capable of blending in. I am attempting to be extraordinary, which requires ordinary and above, as opposed to just being completely off in left field, where I have nothing to relate to you with. Now it's like, I get the struggle. I get what you guys are going through. I didn't want to participate in it, but I got to the point where I have to. Um, and so that's where I am, and that's humbling. But it's fun. I'm very grateful for my life, for my current friends and family and girlfriend and food and everything. Let's try to say something interesting though. I'm listening to David Icke's audiobook, and he has a great line. I think he stole it. He said he stole it from someone else, but he says, when they call you a nut, sometimes a nut, when it holds firm, it grows into a mighty oak. So it's like, call me crazy, but I'll own it, and I'll be a tree, Elam, the eternal tree. I'm surprised Elam wasn't in the show. I mean, would that be enough? It wouldn't. The main character could be named Elam. It wouldn't matter. No one would believe me. It's irrelevant. But I'm not saying the show's about me. I'm saying it might as well be. Might as well be. Might as well be. Like God exists. So I guess the Buddha, who I'm gonna share this image on this video. The Buddha said, all is in the one, and the one is in all things. So by looking at anything, you can understand everything. And this is also the Lex Luthor line that Jonathan Adams brings up. He who can look at the ingredients of a chewing gum wrapper can understand the secrets of the universe, and others can, or some can do that, and then others can read War and Peace and come away thinking it's a simple adventure story. I have a story about this, but who cares? Either one of these objects has a full universe around it, a story about it. And if you truly understood this gum, you would understand everything. And if you truly understood this stone, you would understand everything, because you would have to understand the person holding the stone, the place the stone was formed, the chemistry, the creator of the universe. You would have to understand all of that to truly understand this stone. It contains everything. The further you delve into the study of this stone, the more you ascertain about the universe. Because the stone is in the universe and cannot be isolated from it. It is part of it. It is a point of it. Like any point on a sphere. On the outside of a sphere being the center of the universe. Where is the center of the surface of a sphere? It's all points. So, right? Like, this is the center. No, wait, I mean this. But then you have the core, and that's a different kind of thing. That's, to me, is God. It's the core, I suppose. But so what do I want to do? Well, I want to see, it's tempting to say, okay, Elon's got this. But David Icke doesn't think so. David Icke doesn't believe in Elon Musk and is very distrusting of him, and basically thinks that it's all part of the show and nothing's changed, and it's all just the same team switching sides. And that's a worthy perspective to analyze. And I think he's right about a lot of things. But he's anti-religious, but he admits that an atheist as simple as Dawkins is just lacking in critical thinking or intelligence. He's all about the illusion and the simulation and the holographic reality. He's been talking about this for so long, and they have started to verify what he's been saying. I mean, David Icke has been saying this stuff for like 20 years, and now physics is like confirming most of what he's said. So I'm with a skeptical ear. I'm listening to his audiobook. But anyway, what does this mean? What does it all mean? Well, there's a point at which the girl, I think her name is Priya, the actress, the girl she has her memory wipe is happening. She has like a chip in her head. It's about to restructure her neurons because Citadel's under attack and they're hitting abort on the agents. And so her memory is about to be wiped. And she has like seconds to write a message down to herself. And she writes down Asha. which is her daughter's name and where she lives. And but it got me thinking, what would I write to myself if my entire memory was going to be wiped and I just woke up? What would I want to have told myself? It's kind of like the movie Memento, right? Well, I would write down, you are a white blood cell of God. Because that's been my most profound self realization of who I choose to be or choose to aspire to be. Um, so it's just a metaphor, but it's also, uh, I don't want to associate myself too closely with David Icke, but he really does understand certain things that Adam Pants would talk about too. But like, there's a scalar reality or a fractal nature to the universe. So thinking of myself as a cell inside of a body of humanity or Earth or God, um, is helpful to me to orient myself if my memory was erased and I had no idea who the past me, what he was all about. Um, it's not don't be an asshole. It's cure uh, cure the evil, I guess. And I was also watching Lord of the Rings and Gandalf the Grey, and then he becomes Gandalf the White. There's something powerful about white, wearing white. And my symbol has gone from black to white. Now I still have a black one that I just got, but white is my new color, and I feel like I've upgraded. My wizardry has updated. um, yeah. So Citadel, 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 Citadel. They had halos on their heads, like in this show. They have when they're in their spy organization talking about erasing agents' memories, they have they have this over their head as a light, like one of those lights. And I actually got my haircut today at a barber shop where they had these types of lights as well. So it was over my head was this. So if you were to take a picture of me, it would be like in the show where there's a guy talking and then above his head is like this little light reflecting right here. And that would be another coincidence. Like, you know, and I remember the show Peripheral I thought had my symbol in it. But it's like you perceive the world from yourself and your subconscious mind and all this stuff. And so obviously I'm picking up on things that I pick up on that others might miss. But, what's your story? How do you perceive the world? What lens do you choose to put on it? And then, so my fundamental behavior or goal of behavior, my fundamental orientation towards life on Earth on a daily basis is I try to be careful with my words. I'm a being with room to grow. So let's not use the word flawed. Let's just say I'm a humble being of growth and learning that is blooming and expressing love and purpose. But what am I really doing? I'm trying to live up to my potential. I'm trying to do what I'm made to do. But I'm also trying to rein it in. I'm trying to be realistic, be pragmatic. Every time something happens to me, even if it's bad, even if I'm betrayed, even if a rock hits me, I was driving my car and a rock hit the windshield, and I had to replace the windshield. It cost hundreds of dollars, and it was frightening, getting struck on my car in the freeway. But even that, it's like, okay, well, what does this mean? um, is this a bad thing or a good thing? I gotta tell you, I like the barber shop that I went to, and I wouldn't have been there if I wasn't fixing my car across the street. Um, yeah, it's strange. Let me look at my notes real quick. Yes, okay. There's a line in the show where he's talking to an agent, a new agent, about going undercover and lying. And he says, if you lie, they'll know. So you have to tell the truth, which means you have to lie to yourself and believe the lie you've told yourself so that when you tell it to others, you are telling your truth. And I was like, exactly. Because that's how, like, one time I was the wolf in that game where it's like a bunch of people in the in the in the game, and one of you is a vampire or a wolf or whatever, and then the townspeople try to figure out who it is. And I remember there was some suspicion on me. I was the wolf. I had the card. I was the one killing people in between rounds, and they called me out and they were like, "Is it you?" And I truly behaved and believed in between rounds, like, or during the rounds, I should say. I I mind wiped myself to believe that I am indeed a villager. So when they accused me of being a wolf, I was like, no, I'm not. Like, like, let's try to figure out who it is. Like, let's move on. Like, I really, it wasn't like I was lying. I just was, because when you do something, you do it based on the last time you remembered something. So if you can false remember, like, okay, I am the villager. I'm going to play this game as the villager. If you tell yourself that, then the next time someone calls you a wolf, you say, no, 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 I'm a villager. I'm playing this game as a villager. And it's an honest recollection of what your card is. And then a layer peeled back from that, in between rounds when everyone else goes to sleep, you allow yourself to remember, I am the wolf. And I remember when I did that, because I don't lie too often in my real life, but I did that, and it was so effective that they just completely all died. No, not a person suspected me, because I had passed that initial test when it was obvious that I was the one. And I was like, it's not me, like, in such a convincing way that I killed them all, like I won the game or whatever. So that's how you do that. Anyway, okay. In terms of my contribution to humanity, I think I have something, which is, this is a ball. Let's say it's a wheel. it can roll. You have 4 of these, you can create a car that rolls. There's a new movie coming out with Brad Pitt as a Formula One racer. Those cars all look the same. Why? Because there's only one way to go that fast. You have to have a car that's slanted down and has its wheels in a certain position and a certain type of engine and all this stuff. There's only one way to do it. And it always was there. When Henry Ford made the automobile, the Formula One car was already there in the Platonic realm of forms. As God decreed, or physics declared, or allowed, or demanded that for you to go this fast with this type of a vehicle, it must follow these aerodynamic laws. And maybe we're not at the end of the line of the boom, but these things, they approach a certain point of the fadeaway jumper or the golf swing or the tennis serve. There's only, you can't necessarily have 2 wildly different formulas for the peak performance. So a wheel cannot be improved by, I mean, you can make incremental improvements in sort of like ways, but like that best wheel, the wheel that wins the race, is round fundamentally. And what I'm trying to say is that government as a human tool has not yet reached the wheel. It is not the computer. It is in its, I mean, it has certain things that make the car roll. But I don't think we're there yet. And if we look at it like that, as like a Platonic form that we are trying to discover, that is better than if we're just trying to keep things going the way they are. Because it isn't a wheel that can't be improved. It is a square rolling that's clunky. It's like goosh, goosh, goosh. War, death, famine. Like, we need like something that actually rolls. So also this point of time is so important because the robots that are coming, they can enslave humanity. One person with a sophisticated enough AI system could be king of the world by robot power. There is so much stopping a tyrant in our current environment, or I should say our previous environment, because even in a totalitarian system, the soldiers that are carrying out you got to keep them fed, you got to give them certain things, not ask too much of them. With robots, you can just annihilate people, no questions asked. I mean, it has never been more dangerous to be a peasant or a worker not worker, but working class, it's never been a better time to be a peasant, but it's also never been a worse time. The range of outcomes is for the first time ever infinite in both directions. We could go to utopia or dystopia. Both are on the table. Whereas they've never, ever, ever been on the table before. Because human beings with human beings have complicated relationships. And although you're in the north and I'm in the south, we might both like the same comic book, or we might both share a Christmas together. It's hard to make humans kill each other and not have mercy and rule and all these emotions and relationships. But if you have robots, you can conquer the earth potentially, or you could liberate it. So with Elon, he is, at the same time as he's gutting the government spending or social programs, he's bringing the robots and AI online. And both are good in and of themselves. But the timing of both means that the very moment we this could be happening. I'm not, all due respect, Elon, I do not necessarily think this is what you're doing, but the potential is there from a threat perspective that right as we all get replaced by AI and need unemployment money is right when he's in charge of unemployment money and social security and all the government spending to citizens. Like, he says, okay, we're going to do a universal basic income. All you got to do is get this chip on your hand, and then boom, it's like a very reasonable mark of the beast, and most people go along with it. And that's a possibility. I mean, the show Citadel was made by Amazon Prime, made by Jeff Bezos. He funded it heavily, and it's very good. It's like a movie quality. And you can pay with your palm at Whole Foods. I love Whole Foods, and I love Citadel. I don't love paying with my palm, so I don't. But, you know, the Bible says, lean not on your own understanding. And that's a tricky thing, because if God were real, he would be aware that you are not smart enough to navigate this reality without his word. But I think God's real. No matter how you slice it, there's always a God. Like, I don't think it's really fathomable for there not to be a God, because even if there was no God, I like to say, like Nietzsche said, if God existed, um, it would change nothing. I say if God didn't exist, it would change nothing, because he does exist. But if he didn't, it doesn't matter, because we exist, and we are the all is in the one, and the one contains the all, the super juxtaposition of nothing and everything, or I guess I could say one and everything. But do I have anything good? I read some of my past content. I watch some of my past videos, and I'm not gonna do that stuff anymore. But I'm new. I'm different. And I think I'm better. I think I have certain abilities and a certain amount of faith in myself and in God. I take responsibility for my own presentation or effectiveness as a presenter. I know there are good YouTube videos you could be watching instead of this. You could be reading a masterpiece or doing anything with your time. What am I going to do? I don't know what my plan is. I'm preoccupied with work. Like actual work. Like a job. But I'm trying to somehow maintain my creative identity and theological perspective in spite of being such a normie on a day-to-day basis. But this was my plan, this was my goal, is to assimilate and then disseminate I keep wanting to use a certain word. Let me look it up. Samsara or Sansara is a Sanskrit word meaning wandering or the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth in Hinduism, Buddhism, and Sikhism, representing a continuous cycle of existence and suffering. The goal is nirvana. But see, I like the bodhisattvas who put off nirvana to help others. So how can we say that Christianity is right and Buddhism is wrong? How can we say that God is a Christian and not a Buddhist? Or an Indian person who's born an Indian and believes in what his mother told him until he dies. You're going to tell me he doesn't know God? If you know a tree, you know God. If you know your dog, you know God. If you know a stone, you know God. If you know yourself, if you know me, people, myself included, never mind. I don't know what other people know or not. I observe, I see. I see people do things that I wouldn't do. But I see goodness as well. Sorry, I'm gonna be more advanced. Let me think. So So the question is, who am I? Am I just a regular person? Or am I insane? What are my limitations? What am I is someone talking to me? Is an angel talking to me? Like, are there angels on earth? Are there demons? Are there aliens? I put my hand up asking about aliens, and I felt like my hand like literally went to sleep. Like I could, if you, like because I used my hand as an antenna. I was a willing recipient of positive vibes from aliens, and they communicated with me through the feeling in my hand. I didn't necessarily get a good idea of anything, but I felt a presence. And I was wrong. One time I thought I saw something, and it turns out it was just a Waymo self driving car. It's like, oh, I've never seen that car in my life. Apparently, that's what that was. I thought it was like a UFO, like a car UFO type thing when I first saw it, because I was standing on top of my car doing my thing, and it drove by. I thought it was an alien, and I said, "Are you of me?" And I said, "If you are not of me, what makes you think you won't be annihilated?" Because I'm not afraid of aliens. You know, the whole God thing, it's like I have my faith, and I have my reason. I have my own understanding, and I have leaning on God's word. And I lean on God. I don't fully comprehend the story of my life and who I am and the impact I may or may not have, the effectiveness of this speech or ineffectiveness. It eludes me. Who am I to know? Maybe it's none of my business. I live in fear of my work being compromised by my content outside of work. And I want to be very respectful with any content creation moving forward so that it doesn't reflect poorly on my life at work or stuff like that. But at the end of the day, the only reason I work is to accomplish my mission. My mission is to solve the form problem of human civilization. If I can get us closer to the form that works, heaven, suppose, or cloudland, is my step towards heaven, the idea of something that works, then I think that's what I'm supposed to do. And sometimes I have to just admit failure or scold myself, or um, I have to consider the possibility that certain opportunities have passed me by, and I have to learn from that so they don't in the future. Is that well put? I always try to think of the best possible way to put something in my own mind and in the minds of others, or what is the best possible perspective. Like if you went through something and then you have Dumbledore right next to you explaining it to you, what would he say? What is the wisest possible way to interpret whatever is happening to you? There's always a better way to look at it. No matter what happens, there's always a better way to say something. There's just always room for improvement and growth. But maybe you should be able to just enjoy and love. Love where you are. Accept where you are for the time being. I can't just constantly be chasing something, because that's like where Buddhism comes in. It's like, and Christianity even says, you shall be wanting nothing. Like I forget the exact quote, but like, he follows the Lord and then he wants nothing, or it's God making a promise that you will be wanting nothing. James 1:4. But let patience have its perfect work, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. Lacking nothing? That's not quite. I mean, that's what I was thinking of, but I think is there a wanting nothing? Huh. Maybe it was lacking. That doesn't sound right to me. Oh well. Maybe a Christian can help me in the comments. Anyway, my lasagna is about to be ready. I should probably get going. It's like, should I even upload this? Is it for me? Is it for you? Is it bad? Is it good? I don't know. All I know is that when I walk into a situation, I feel like I know what the right thing to do is, and I do it most of the time, or all the time. I don't know. But I'm human. I forgive myself if I don't do it, and I try to do it better the next time. Yeah, I'm so flawed. I'm so aware of the ways that other people are better than me at certain things, or the ways that I expect better from myself, or just the difficulties of the pain in my body after straining something, or I don't know. I'm not invincible. I don't even feel comfortable saying that. Maybe I am invincible. You don't know until you die. What if words create life? What if there wasn't light until God said there was? Sonoluminescence. What if Dragonade is a good idea. Diluting the sugary Gatorade with a version of water that has vitamins. I mean, it's still a sugary drink, but if you're drinking water and then when you want a sports drink, you're diluting it with vitamin water and calling it Dragonade because it's dragon fruit and Gatorade, is that not a good idea? I think it's a good idea. I think it's delicious, and it's purple. So, cheers to Citadel, to Dragonade, to Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, to the Matrix Resurrections, to Hypnotic. I solemnly swear that I'm up to good. Thank you. God bless you. And God bless Cloudland.